world is struggling to keep the lights on.
Meantime, as we've said, hitting its highest level since 2008 today. Tom Closer from...
We are in either the worst energy crisis since the 1970s or darn close to it.
We're in the midst of an energy crunch, perhaps unlike we've ever seen.
Global energy costs are on the rise, so that means the things that keep your business running are getting more expensive. The lights, the water, the gas bill, all of it. If you want to save money, efficiency is key, and mCloud is here to help. Drawing from technology used in the world's most demanding industries, Asset Care takes the health, performance, and efficiency of your assets to new heights. No upfront fees, no hidden costs, and one simple price per connected asset combined with continuous performance improvements that you can measure. Every aspect of asset management, from operations to optimization to maintenance, under one umbrella, enabling you to get the most out of your assets. mCloud Asset Care.
You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary-Burt Godwin, and I am really excited to talk to our next guest. You know, I always talk about how important digital marketing is, social media marketing, and marketing in general, and it's something I feel like it can get looked over or maybe thought, oh, I'll deal with that later. But in this day and age, I think it's very important to talk about this and really have a strategy in this world or in this arena. So I'm excited to introduce you to Elise Cruz. Welcome to America Trends. Elise, you're a digital marketing expert, and you call yourself a unicorn, which I love. I want to hear more about that. So you do copywriting, web design, and marketing funnels, which is a big word, funnel. The whole marketing funnel.
Scary word.
Big scary word, which I want to dive into that too. But so welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Are you from San Diego?
I'm from Orange County originally, but living in North Park, San Diego now.
Okay, and your website's elisecruz.com. So and do you do freelance work for agencies and business owners?
Yeah, I do. I work with some bigger agencies, but I've really found my super sweet spot helping, online coaches really brand themselves and market themselves online. I think this space erupted during COVID, right?
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Everyone became an online coach,
Totally.
Because that's where everything moved to. Absolutely. And then they need to know, when you're doing that, you need to know the digital landscape.
Totally. And what I find is there's all these super, super qualified professionals who come into this online space like a little bit afraid or timid. Like, I know my thing really well, but how do I do it for me personally? Like, I did it for a big, Fortune 500 company. Now, how do I do it for me, the person behind the business itself?
So when people reach out to you, what's your first thing that you do when you meet a new client?
That's a great question. I mean, I take a people first approach. That is what I'm all about. I'm all about, really getting to know the voice behind the person. So I spend a lot of time in the targeting exercises and talking about who is your prospect beyond this demographic world that we seem so focused in, because it's like the marketing textbook is like, know your 4 Ps, know your demographics.
Right.
But I find compelling content and copy and actual impact and income, which of course is important, comes from a 3D approach of understanding your audience, like getting to know that deep psychographic, and then everything else falls in line from that point.
I saw, I think, one of your videos that you sent us, or something I was clicking through, and you were going with a client and you had all these pictures and you put them up on a wall and you were kind of looking at them. Absolutely. So is that part of your process too, is to kind of say what colors, I mean, not that colors scheme is important, but it can get into the mind of maybe who that person is and what they need to be doing.
Well, absolutely, because I believe, there's lots of terms about branding, marketing, this and that, and I kind of feel like it's like over our heads. We're like kind of numb to this language.
Yeah.
But my work with my clients is really helping them understand that branding and marketing is about connection. It's about that like hard to articulate feeling, and colors and imagery and language and the funnels and the data is all part of that experience. We just don't want the client to know that. That's our work as the marketer, to set all that up so they can just show up and engage.
And I want to dive into some of this first, but I was just talking with someone, she's a relative of mine, and she has this idea for a yoga business. And she said, Mary, the biggest thing that's holding me back is social media. And she said she's terrified of how to represent her brand there. And I thought, you're not alone. This is what a lot of people are afraid of. So what do you say to somebody like that, that's kind of worried about that aspect of it?
It's so good that you asked this question, because I feel like social media is like the thing. It's like the sexy thing. It's the thing that everybody wants to grow their engagement and following on, which I think is really relevant. But first and foremost, I say to my clients is like, there is more than one avenue, right? If you're not an Instagram person, you're not an Instagram. If you're not for TikTok, if you don't want to dance in Reels, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
I agree.
I built my business through referrals, and email marketing actually became my really sweet zone, because I didn't want to do the trend on Instagram. I wanted to write long form content that connects with that heartstring thing that my clients experience.
That's a great point. And I really feel like there are people that they are good at it and they do love it. So that's great. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do, because you're not necessarily making a lot of money on Instagram unless you are already knowledgeable about all the things, and because you can't buy followers. I mean, you can, but
Don't recommend.
I don't, I think that's, hopefully no one does that anymore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be the thing. I mean, email marketing or whatever it is, LinkedIn, wherever it might work best for your business. So talk to me about, speaking to your audience and how, you best get people to figure out what the best way to speak to their audience is.
So good. I mean, there's tons of different modalities. I personally use my signature formula, which is the ABCs of your audience.
Okay.
And really what it does is it just has 3 core pillars where we talk about our client's current situation, what they want, and what they're afraid to admit that they want.
Oh, I remember what your B is. So tell me your ABCs, because I was laughing at this.
Totally.
I mean, in a good way. Yeah.
Good. Hopefully it succinctly explains these big concepts. So the A is the aspiration, which is like the fun one that everybody wants to talk about. It's the dream that your audience has. So I want to take 3 vacations a year. I want to make, multiple millions of dollars. I want to take care of my family, whatever the aspiration is. That one is like the fun one to write.
Yeah.
The B is the blech, and I say it in that animated kind of gross way because that's exactly what it is.
Right.
It's the external tasks or like to-dos that are keeping us stuck.
Like the social media.
Like social media, like filing my LLC, like filing taxes as an S Corp, whatever those things are that feel hard. And then the C is the can't, which is where we go into the emotional internal space. And that's where we write that really juicy copy, because it's saying, I can't do this because my partner doesn't believe in me, or I can't do this because I didn't grow up with money, or I don't look the
whatever
part.
Our internal limitations that we put on ourselves.
Yeah. And then from that, content writes itself, right? We can use it to write social media. How to the aspiration without the blah. 5 ways to get the aspiration even if the can't, right? So it literally becomes email content, social content, newsletter content, all from updating this list of internal and external desires and pain points.
Because then, I mean, if I'm hearing you correctly, then it's the person talking about, the business owner writes these things about themselves and or their business.
Or you step into the shoes of your client, right?
Okay.
So thinking about
your audience.
Ideal client.
Okay.
So let's pretend you, Mary, are my ideal client. I pretend I'm Mary and I say, I don't want to get on social media, or I don't want to have to do a photo shoot every 6 months or whatever.
Right.
But from the perspective of your audience who you're trying to reach is where you want to write these statements from.
Okay. And then talk to me about, so this is interesting, the creep, clarify, and create.
Yeah.
So I love the word creep. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I found that language just from like behavior that we do on social media.
Right.
Like before I met you, you did some searching of me. Before I go on an online date, I might creep a profile or something. But really, it's that investigation, like doing that research so that when you show up to the table, you're prepared with some back information so you can show up and shine.
Yeah, I love it. And creeping, there's a TLC, or was that how it is? Say the TLC, yeah. But we were just talking with Brad Ramber about TikTok, and I said, I'm not really on. He's like, yeah, so it's stock talk to you. So I stalk it more than I tick it.
Totally.
But so creep, and then clarify and create. Talk to me about those.
Yeah, so once you do your initial creeping or your research, then you're at the point where you're like, I have the information. What do I do with it? How do I funnel it down? How do I clarify it so that it's a succinct and positioned kind of stake in the ground, right? We want differentiation. So if we don't claim it, we run the risk of our clients assuming it or our competition saying it for us, which is even scarier.
Scarier, right.
And then create is the fun part. You've done all your hard work. Now it's time to like get into action, create that online program, create that post. If it's my work, create that website, that marketing funnel, that email, but it's synonymous to any industry.
And gosh, I should have you back on because we're running out of time, but I do want to talk about marketing funnels. And you know, what those look like if they've changed and, you know, moving forward in 2023.
Totally.
What we can look at. And you have a book called Pivot with Purpose.
That's right.
Where can we find that book?
It's just on Amazon. If you Google Pivot with Purpose or you go on Amazon and type it in, you can read my chapter, which is all about this ability to adapt, which as entrepreneurs, we know that is synonymous with the word entrepreneurship.
Right. I mean, you have to be adaptable. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
You have to adapt. Okay, Elise Cruz, thank you so much for being here. EliseCruz.com, CRUZ.
Great.
And on Instagram, at Elise_Cruz_. For copywriting, web design. Oh, you do web design too. Do it all. Marketing funnels. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We've got more America Trends. After this, you can find us on social media at America Trends TV on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.